I'm the CEO's executive assistant. My specialty, malicious compliance. When the CEO has a meeting, I order bubble tea for everyone. When he invites a client to dinner, I book a chaotic hot pot restaurant that leaves the poor man sweating bullets. When he asks me to prepare a thank you gift for a partner, I present them with a tacky, gold-plated trophy engraved with the words, "You tried." Finally, my boss, the formidable Nicholas Sterling, couldn't take it anymore. "Chloe Mai," he growled, "were you sent by a rival company to destroy me?" I feigned shock. "You found me out already." As the CEO's assistant, my job was to secretly sabotage him from within. At 8:55 a.m., I was already waiting in his office. At 9:00 a.m. sharp, the door swung open, and in walked Mr. Sterling, dressed in a tailored black suit with a matching long coat. He radiated an aura of arrogant power that could freeze hell over. He didn't even glance at me. "I have a meeting at 9:30. Get some drinks for everyone. Anything will do," I asked, all innocence. He took off his coat. A 3-second silence passed. Seeing that I had no intention of taking it from him, he sighed and hung it up himself. "Miss Mai," he said, his voice laced with annoyance, "handle these minor details yourself." "Okay, fine." Half an hour later, Nicholas stared at the array of colorful bubble teas on the conference table, his handsome face struggling to maintain its composure. "Miss Mai, what is this?" "Bubble tea, and I customized each one for you, Mr. Sterling, since I know you have a sweet tooth. I got extra sugar with boba pearls." The other executives ducked their heads, stifling laughter. Nicholas's ears turned a tail shade of red. He cleared his throat. "All right, Miss Mai, open the presentation." I clicked open the file, and there, projected on the giant screen, was Nicholas's face, distorted by a goofy, oversized head filter. Someone snorted. Then, the whole room erupted. People were howling, slapping the table, their professional facades shattered. Amidst the chaos, a grin spread across my face, but it vanished the second I met Nicholas's icy gaze. 10 minutes later, I stood before him like a guilty schoolgirl, head bowed. "Miss Mai," he began, trying to sound calm, "do you have a reason for turning a serious board meeting into a kindergarten tea party?" I racked my brain. Because routine dulls the mind. The bubble tea was to stimulate their creativity, to transport them back to their youth, to fill them with vigor to work for you. And my big head filter, he steepled his fingers, his dark eyes seeing right through me. I gulped. To make you seem more approachable, a friendly CEO is all the rage. It helps you connect with the employees." "I didn't see any connecting. I saw you making a fool of yourself." "Oh no, is he going to fire me?" I couldn't get fired yet. My mission was far from over. Just as I was about to beg for mercy, he rubbed his temples. "I'm having lunch with a client. You pick the place." My eyes lit up. "Okay, boss." At lunch, there were 3 of us, me, Nicholas, and a bewildered-looking foreign businessman, all staring at the fiery, bubbling pot of crimson broth in the middle of the table. At Old Tion's Century Hot Pot, Nicholas was inhaling and exhaling deeply, but with the client present, he couldn't explode. He just beckoned to me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Miss Mai, could you come here for a moment?" I walked over, my heart pounding. He grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong, his voice a furious whisper. "Are you doing this on purpose? I ask you to pick a lunch spot, and you choose a hot pot joint." "Actually, Mr. Sterling, hot pot is the best choice," I argued, my mind racing. "There's a saying, there's no problem a hot pot meal can't solve." In this lively, chaotic, and wonderfully human atmosphere, the distance between you will naturally shrink. You'll become pot mates. How could he hesitate to sign the deal after that? For a second, his expression wavered, but then he snapped back. "Miss Mai, what university did you attend?" "The University of Bullshit." Good. The foreign client suddenly exclaimed in broken English. "I like hot pot, Mr. Sterling." "Very good, Miss Mai." "Excellent." Throughout the meal, I was busier than a bee, pouring juice for Nicholas, cooking meat for the client. The 2 of them chatted away, and halfway through, the client clapped his chest and doubled his investment. Nicholas stared, utterly stunned, seeing the deal get even bigger. My face fell. On a trip to the restroom, I frantically called my dad. "Dad, I'm sorry, I was supposed to be wrecking this company, making sure Nicholas couldn't land a single deal, and now this guy doubles his investment after one hot pot meal. You're a real treasure, honey." Dad sighed. "You see, Chloe Mai, daughter of my family fortune, had infiltrated Sterling Corp., Because Nicholas had stolen a major contract from my father's company. My mission was simple, cause chaos. But now, I seem to be failing upwards. Miss Mai, what are you doing? A voice said from behind me. Game over for me. I turned around stiffly, a pained smile on my face. With his vengeful nature, he was probably going to subject me to medieval torture, before feeding my remains to stray dogs. Mr. Sterling, when did you get here? He strode towards me, his face a dark cloud, and raised his hand. I flinched, shutting my eyes. A gentleman uses his words, not his fists. He startled, taking a step back. You have something in your hair, he said, exasperated. You're a mess. I have no idea why I hired you. He shook his head and started to walk away, then turned back. Well, are you coming? That evening, after seeing the client off, Nicholas insisted on driving me home. I lived in a cheap, rented apartment in the city. My cover. You live in a place like this? He asked, frowning at the address. Life is hard, I said pitifully. I'd love a big house, but my salary doesn't quite cover it. Is my salary that low? Well, I improvised. I bought an apartment, so paying the mortgage and the rent is a struggle. Oh, where did you buy? I blurted out the name of a luxury complex. A strange smile played on his lips. I have a place there too. It seems you have hidden depths. Miss Mai, my blood ran cold. He knows. This is it. I might as well confess. Actually, my real identity is. You did a great job today. We spoke at the same time. He looked at me, intrigued. Your real identity. I swallowed hard. Wait. You were driving me home just to tell me I did a good job today. What else? He asked. I leaned closer. Did you hear my phone call earlier? He hesitated. Are you sure you want me to say? My heart hammered. You really shouldn't whine to your father like that. I let out a breath of relief. He hadn't heard the important parts. My cover was safe. My confidence returned. So, Mr. Sterling, you really want to reward me? He nodded. Then, can you accompany me to France next week? There was a major land auction my dad wanted to win. If I could get Nicholas out of the country, Dad would have a clear shot. A week later, at the airport, my dad was giving me a dramatic farewell. My daughter, you're sacrificing so much for me. You must protect your virtue from that Sterling dog. Dad, he's a corporate rival, not a predator, I said, rolling my eyes. Just then, I saw Nicholas approaching. I quickly pushed my dad away. Sir, I already told you I'm not interested in your product, I hissed, winking frantically at him. Dad caught on. But miss, this product is amazing. You'll regret it. On the plane, Nicholas suddenly spoke. That old man, a pushy salesman. I interrupted. He frowned. His voice sounded familiar. My heart leaped. You know, Mr. Sterling, I said, changing the subject. You're the first person to ever take me abroad. I gazed at him with wide, sparkling eyes. So this trip to France is very special to me. His ears turned red again. He mumbled a soft and turned to look out the window, flustered. I had made it. We landed in France, and my pre-booked hotel had a problem. I stood there, cursing in fluent French. It's fine, Nicholas said, taking my hand. We'll stay with my grandmother, his grandmother, in France. My language just now. He coughed into his fist. Miss Mai, your French is a little colorful. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I had imagined a quaint little cottage. Instead, our car pulled up to a magnificent castle. This is my grandmother's house, Nicholas said, grabbing my luggage. I was like a country mouse in the big city, overwhelmed by curiosity. I accidentally knocked over a vase. I'm so sorry. How much is it? I'll pay for it. 5,000. Oh, that's fine. He looked at me, amused. 5,000, 100,000, 5 million. I hung my head in defeat. So, Mr. Sterling, how many years will I have to work for you to pay this off? He stepped closer, bending down to meet my gaze. His eyes, usually so serious, were sparkling. So, how long do you want to stay by my side? The air crackled. The moment was charged with an unspoken something. My darling grandson, you're finally here, and you brought your future wife. A tall, stunningly beautiful woman strode towards us. Grand-mère, Nicholas said, then nudged me. Say hello. Still dazed, my tongue got twisted. Grand-mère, I blurted out. She beamed. I immediately tried to correct myself. I'm so sorry, Madam Sterling. I'm his assistant, Chloe Mai. That night, his grandmother left us to a candlelit dinner for two. Later, in the hotel he booked for me to wash the pigeon droppings out of my hair. Long story. An intruder broke in. I scared him off by faking a conversation between a man and a woman, my voice, acting skills finally coming in handy. When Nicholas returned and I told him what happened, he was frantic, checking me for injuries. The fear in his eyes was real. Later, his grandmother told me a story about how, as a child, Nicholas's beloved puppy had drowned because he'd looked away for a few minutes. He blames himself for not protecting what he cares about, she said. Her kind eyes turned sharp. Miss Mai, I've had you looked into. My grandson is a brilliant man, but his heart is simple. If your intentions are impure, I expect you to walk away from him. She knew. I fled back home that night. I landed to a barrage of missed calls from my dad. My cousin, Aiden, had staged a coup. He'd tricked my father into signing a disastrous contract and had taken over the entire company. We were kicked out, our assets frozen. We were homeless. I took my weeping father to my cheap, rented apartment. As we got out of the car, I saw a tall, familiar silhouette in the dim light of the building's hallway. The man turned. His handsome face was cloaked in shadow, but his voice was dangerously calm. Chloe Mai, Nicholas Sterling said, you played me for a fool. An hour later, my dad and I were sitting meekly on the plush sofa. In Nicholas's luxurious villa. He sent my dad upstairs, then turned to me. I braced myself. He sighed, a wounded look on his face. Honestly, I'm a little angry. I'm sorry, I mumbled, ashamed. I shouldn't have used such dirty tricks. If you want to sue me, I won't fight it. But, he said, his tone shifting, you hurt my heart. I kept my head down, waiting for the verdict. However, Chloe Mai, if you agree to be my girlfriend, I'll forgive everything. I looked up, stunned, into his sincere, vulnerable eyes. His ears were bright red. My heart did a somersault. From upstairs, my dad's voice boomed, say yes, say yes, say yes. Later that night, I asked him the question that had been burning in my mind. Why do you like me? He looked away, a faint blush on his cheeks. I first saw you 3 years ago. You were working as a waitress in a coffee shop. He looked back at me, his eyes full of admiration. You were dealing with a scumbag. The way you flipped him over your shoulder, it was very impressive. I remembered. I couldn't believe it. So you've been watching me all this time. I was intrigued, he admitted. When you applied to my company, I thought it would be interesting to keep you close. So, I summarized, it was love at first sight, which grew over time. He couldn't deny it. He just nodded, his long lashes dipping down. Yes, with Nicholas's help, we fought back. 3 months later, Sterling Corp. Acquired what was left of the My Group. My cousin Aiden was disgraced and cast out. On Nicholas's birthday, he gave me the company back, fully restored. He wanted me to be the chairwoman, and he would work for me. I refused. His company was his life's work. I went back to run my father's company, finally ready to take responsibility. It turned out that being a CEO was hard work. Nicholas would show up at my office, looking pitiful. Chairwoman Mai, he'd whine, I want to eat hot pot. 6 months later, we were married. After the wedding, I asked him again, what did you wish for on your birthday? He squeezed my hand, a contented look on his face. My wish already came true. You're here, with me. He looked into my eyes. Chloe Mai, will you stay with me for a lifetime? Didn't I already say I do? I laughed. I want to hear you say it again. I will, I said, my voice soft but sure. 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. I'll travel the world with you, through every season. I want to build a new family with you, because I love you. I'm not a huge believer in marriage, but I believe in you. He leaned in and kissed me gently. For the rest of my life, he whispered against my lips, I'll never let you down.